everyone, and welcome to the work show. I'm Kanisha, and I will be your host for today's session. For today, we are going to discuss in detail about etiquette in the workplace. I believe that this is a topic that graduates should be curious about, as proper workplace etiquette can bring employees in a long way at the workplace. So, what is workplace ethics, and why is it super important? Along here with us today is two very esteemed guests who have come today to share their opinion, perspective, and insights all about workplace ethics. Our guests for today are Mr. Muhammad Arik. He is the immigration officer that works for the Indonesian Embassy. Good day to you, Mr. Arik. How are you doing today?
Oh, good day to you too. So far so good for me, and I also say thank you so much for this opportunity because you have inviting me today.
All right. And the second panel is also quite interesting here. Let me introduce you to Miss Shirley from KOL, who works under the Creative Content Department. Hello, Shirley. How are you doing today?
Hi, thank you, Kanisha. I'm feeling great today, and I'm really grateful and thankful that you have invited me to come to discuss about this work ethic.
The pleasure is ours, Shirley. Okay, so I think we can't wait to learn more with you guys. So without further ado, let's delve deeper, shall we? Mr. Arik, what does the phrase workplace etiquette mean to you as a representative of your organization?
Um, Based on my view about workplace ethic in my company, it's all about how do we able to behave, and when we are follow the company rules and instructions, because it can also be considered as non-spoken rule if you are able to adapt by follow and learn the company attitude and rules quicker, because I believe that ethic in workplace can be related to moral value, ethical life, right and responsibility. When how do you when you are able to manage your work is called as ethics that you need to have in the workplace, and what is right and wrong you should do. You should know how to make your own decisions, and that's need to be reasonable and for the right of your workplace, and what is good and bad, because you should know when you are behave inappropriate or unethical. You need to know your barrier at there. And I think moreover in the, because I'm working especially at the government institute, an ethical codes and rules policy is very mainstream, very common for us to work there, because it's important principles which guides all the employee to activity and all decisions and institutions, especially when you are need to know your barrier or gap when you talk to your other staff or your supervisors with a higher position than you need to be respected them and to be obedience, because in government system or government institution system work, you need to be adapt. They still adapt with the traditional to follow the rules and all that stuff, and they also show some authority. There is some hierarchy there, so they are work there with the hierarchy. You should need to know your positions. So I think that's the important when you work and learn more about ethic at the government institution. And also, oh yes, also I forget to tell you that when you are dealing with government institutions, maybe someday when you work there, there is a lot of complication, especially you need to know what side you are with, because in the government institutions you might see there are political things in government, make makes you wonder sometimes when you work with enemies or a friend. So there is need neutral attitude, so you need to create your neutral attitude or personality when you are there, so you will know your enemies or friends.
All right, Mr. Arik, that was very insightful. Okay, right. So, according to Mr. Arik, ethic at the workplace is more about attitude and behavior to follow the rules at the workplace, as his line of work is quite conservative and is very authority based. Okay, so what we'd like to know right now is about how Miss Shirley, because you work at the media company and especially in the creative field of work, which most probably would have like a different set of rules to follow when it comes to etiquette. So, what do you think workplace etiquette means in your line of work?
Okay. I'm actually agree with Ari about workplace ethic is a set of rules that control social behavior and attitude in the workplace. It covers a wide range of aspects among employees. Some of these include body language, behavior, technology use, and communication. But for me, it is about how you conduct yourself around coworkers, potential business partners, and customers. It boils down to treating others with respect, to be aware of everyone present, and to be polite overall. So ethic makes your work easier with and more pleasant for your fellow colleagues. When someone interrupts you while talking, arrives late for a meeting, or snatches your food from the fridge in the standard room, you begin to wonder how an individual could be so disrespectful. All of this stuff is nothing but workplace ethic violations. So there is no universal agreement to standard workplace ethic. It all depends on the office personality. However, specific workplace ethic rules apply to almost every business. So in my company, deadline is really important as you are doing your job on time because you work under media. So you need to have a plan with all the schedule at the workplace. And also you need to work well with other people, being social and communicate properly and smoothly with each other as these are important aspects to be professional especially. So as workers, you need to pay attention to the manners and habits of your supervisor, mentor, senior management, and other key players. So if you are unsure about displaying proper ethic, you should ask them. Don't feel shy or not confident about it. So for obvious reason, a workplace is a challenging and stressful environment. Each worker has different aspirations, attitudes, and personalities. However, they together towards one common goal with different working style, and thus clashes will happen. So one easy way that you can maintain a friendly and productive workplace is by measuring your words. Think before you speak. Respect others' perspective. Don't be offensive with hitting replies and never make arguments personal. So don't forget to apologize in words whenever required.
All right, Miss Shirley. So, according to what you've said, what I could learn from what you've said is that workplace ethics for you here means that it relies a lot on how you carry yourself and how you respond to your colleagues and your prospective business partners and employers and stuff like that. So, I find that very insightful because that too is something that we can all agree with because that reflects on how you are as a person. Hence, ethics also now boils down to good manners, which is what I believe that both you and Arik have both mentioned when you both talked about workplace ethics. So good manners, they help in individual lives as well as they also are accepted like in the company as well as our society. So an individual must know how to behave at the workplace. And there's a huge difference between um, the college life for graduates because we're talking about how graduates need to adapt in the workplace. So there is a huge difference between life at college and a professional working life. One needs to be more disciplined at the workplace as opposed to life at the university. So for my second question, what are the examples that you can show me about ethics in the workplace, Mr. Tariq?
Sure. Maybe I can tell you one of the examples, such as when back at my office, I think we have some rules of our policy about dress ethic or outfit ethic. So at my company, you need to wear formal outfits, uh, such as long sleeve shirts, and maybe you can put on black coat, and also you need to wearing black shoes when you are go to work, and also you need attire if you are men. But if you are women, there is some optional. You can use your hijab also properly with long sleeve shirts and long skirt or black pants and black high heels. So you see that our company very strict about this ethic ethic code, especially at attire to the employee, because in our company we believe that what you wearing when you come to work is represents what your impressions. So that's why we have the company that's very highly value the our performance, especially our impressions when we are facing the customer or the investor or other things. And also we have the special outfits for the special day. Maybe in a week there is a day that we use a special outfits like batik. So when you go to work, you need to wearing this batik outfit. And then for other, I think you need to wearing the special dress such as Hari Raya Idul Fitri. You need to wearing baju raya, or and when Chinese New Year, you can compromise. You can wearing outfit or dress that follow the theme. And other thing also interesting about my company is you might need to be work on time. So our company not really like no dislike people who come to work late. So you need to make sure to keep your time on time when you go to work. So you need to early, and also you need to be respectful with other staff. Doesn't matter if you know or you not know the staff at my company. You need still to respect them, and don't forget to be polite also, and watch your language, and use the formal conversations when you talk with your colleague, work partner, or your supervisors. So I think that's a few example about my company that we still have the one of the ethic lah that we still we still put.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Arik. So, based on what you've said, I believe that the company, and especially your organization, the immigration department, has a more conservative approach towards work ethics. And I also believe that one of the main topics that you've touched on, namely time, is very important when it comes to workplace ethics, because what students and graduates sometimes don't realize is that they might take time for granted because previously it was just classes and they're not really as responsible to a lot of different things. And this is where discipline comes through, and they have to be disciplined enough to attend work on time and to finish things at the given time, as well as to abide by all these different ethics that each different organization would have differently. So, Miss Shirley, can you give us a few examples about what your company ethics would be and the rules that you need to follow in a more creative setting?
Okay. For my company, it's totally different from Arik one, which an employer's standard for dress code is informal. This allows all the employees to freely choose their own attire as long as it's proper and not some kind of dress that you wear when you go to the beach, but properly when you go to work. Because our company objective is to feel part as a group and feel that as a whole family towards our own goal. So, what constitutes appropriate will depend on the particular culture of your workplace. But it's always a good idea to dress to impress people, especially when you are first starting a new role at a company. Even if you don't have a formal dress code, save the crop tops, flip flops, and see through shirts for the weekend. No one will take you seriously if you don't. So, in this case, our employees have a right to express themselves through clothing. We also treat our employee as a partner and friend so there is no gap between us. And we all learn from mistakes from our job. The company's goals and visions are reflected in who it chooses to be flexible and comes out with the good result. Yeah.
All right. So, well, in my perspective, ethics in your attire or dress is a very important thing, which is like an impression of someone when they see us. That's what I got from what Shelley has explained to us earlier. So, in a more formal setting, in a more conservative setting, a formal attire is more appropriate. Whereas in creative departments like where Shelley works as, dressing to impress people in their first impression is also equally as important. But on the other hand, the company should also give some place to the employees to express themselves well while trying to attend their workplace and while trying to dress up for the workplace. However, this does not apply to every company, and each company has different procedures to how they want their employees to dress. And as as graduates move on from college lives and are moving on to a working life, these are different things that students that graduates should also take into consideration because there are graduates who want to dress as glamourly as possible, but then they end up getting into a workplace that restricts them from expressing themselves. So I also believe that it is important for graduates to look at the workplace culture that they will be applying for, that they will be working in the future. And it also comes down to how we deal with our business sometimes, and like what we wear significantly has an impact, an impression for other people. And speaking of the workplace, I believe the viewers are also very curious on how does one need to keep their workspace when they're using it. What do you have to say about this, Eric?
Well, it's very interesting to discussing about these questions. I think for me, when I during work time, I usually keep this personal space. Yeah, sometimes when take a break from work, I think maybe 1 hour, I will go to a corner or room that far away from my office, or I might be go to some restaurants or the place that might be can relax my mind, maybe free my mind for a few minutes. So it's greatly help you to relieve your stress during your work times, because this when you spend your times in this few moments, you are trying to be with yourself, and that's what's space for you. And also I also aware that uh, you are never work or unannounced, no matter your colleagues and certainly not your boss at your office without knocking, because private is first. When you are try to where you are try to come to your colleague or your boss, maybe in the some office room, you need to knock the door first, because it's about personal matters, and it's more polite, I think, and it is considered as a common courtesy. And also I also believe that uh, any when you are any activity that related to eating food or drink beverage. You should aware that you need to find the best situation when you're doing this kind of activity, when you are eating food or doing some things at your office, especially because sometimes this kind of activity can be annoying or to other people sometimes. So that's why we should aware about this, uh, because I feel for me, I feel that I don't want to annoy my other colleague or my work partner. So that's why I try to find the best times or the best situation for me to do this activity. Or rather than that, you can do this activity out of your office, might be in the restaurant, or yes, or maybe at your home. You can go home and then you go back to your office, so that's you don't interrupt it or you don't annoy your work partners. So I believe that's some tips for me if you want to have some space for you, especially at your workplace.
Miss Shirley, what do you have to say about this?
For me, as we know that we should know and we must know that when we start our workings, we should know how to balancing our work life and personal life. It's really, really important. We shouldn't bring our personal life into our work life. So we should respect each other when we are working together. So in my company, during working hours, don't ever interrupt people when they are focusing their job, and don't try to communicate with them verbally or with sign language. You could damage an important phone call. For example, when they are being called with a client or a customer. So moreover, learn when and where it is appropriate to use your cell phone in your office, because you might leak any confidential information to a third person accidentally, which might lead to bigger issues. Besides, we have to respect others' privacy while using phone in workspace. So it's better use your phones at a suitable environment in company which does not lead to disturbance for others and misinformation or leaks. So ethic is so important to a professional worker. Many things you need to control yourself to not doing those things during work time in office, such as have personal conversation at your desk. If you must have a private or personal phone conversation when you are at work, try not to have the conversation at your desk where others can hear you. As I said just now, you should balancing your work life and personal life. And then having a personal conversation at your desk can be distracting to the co-workers near you and may rank you up to gossip about being someone who can't live their personal life at home, which isn't good for your professional image. Don't bring your personal life when you are working, as I told you guys. But it also important to remember that it's okay to make mistake. Nobody is perfect. As long as you are constantly growing and learning from those mistakes, and make an effort to stop making the same mistake in the future, and your coworkers will notice it. Yeah, that's all from me.
All right, thank you very much, Miss Shirley, for your wonderful insights on how personal conversations and having your personal space is important from separating it from the workplace. And I guess from what we have all discussed earlier, I quite agree with what both Miss Shirley and Mr. Arik have mentioned about the very different workplace ethics that have applied to their own workspaces. And the important thing that I believe that I have understood, and I believe that the viewers have also understood, is that to know your space between your personal life and work and to constantly differentiate it in order to be considerate of other people as well, because they too have personal lives as well as different work lives. And workplace etiquette is indeed important to show our employers and colleagues who we are as an employee and how well do we work in a team setting. So I think that is all from our guests, and thank you so much for everyone for today and the discussion from the viewers. I have definitely learned a lot. Once again, thank you so much, Miss Arik and Miss Shirley, for sharing your insights, and let's all give them a round of applause. Thank you very much for coming.
You're welcome. Thank you also for the moderator.
Thank you also for the
It's,
moderator.
it's our pleasure having you here. Thank you.